Just make sure you've got nothing inappropriate, because obviously we've all seen that picture on BBC.
There's no dildos behind me.
That whole thing, yeah. You've got a lot more explaining to do if there's a large dildo on your shelf. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Grumpy Dads. As usual, we've got with us Chris.
Hello, mate.
And I'm stoked again this week. We had a couple of weeks ago Dan from The Fallen State. And this week we have Adam Methven, who is the new lead singer, replacing Ben, but bringing something totally new to The Fallen State as well.
Hey guys.
Thanks so much for joining us, Adam. As always, we're going to kick off with icebreaker antics. So the rules are, I scan the net looking for products with 1-star reviews. You've got to guess the product based on the reviews. First product, first review. Okay. Used once, never again. It's spat in 50 different directions.
Feels like it could be like a fryer or something like that.
That sounds like a question.
Yeah, it's kind of a leading question, isn't it?
Everybody tries it. It's the same tactic.
I think, that's my guess. Like a fryer.
A fryer is a good guess, but it is incorrect. Duncan, what's your guess?
I'm wondering if it's, this isn't my guess, but I'm wondering if it's a llama or something like that.
Used once, never again. It's spat in different directions. It certainly fits.
I've got this fantasy that I want to own 3 llamas, purely because I've got the names Dalai, Banana, and Baraka.
Baraka Llama.
I want to be able to say Baraka Llama. I'm going to go with hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer is another good guess, but it is incorrect. Next review. Makes a huge mess. You don't realise till you've finished. What makes a huge mess, but you don't realise till you've finished?
Me, usually.
And it goes everywhere, apparently. It's spat in 50 different directions.
It sounds like the trip to the bathroom when you've been on a night drinking.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm not sure that is an answer, though, to be honest.
It's certainly not something you can order from Amazon, but
you know. All right, thought processes. What are we thinking?
I'm thinking a kid's game.
Kids game. Is that your guess?
I'm going to put that as my guess, because you get those ones where, pie face, and there seems to be this fascination with kids' games and bodily functions at the moment, so it would fit.
I don't know where bodily functions comes in, but it's not a kid's game. Not a kid's game. Adam, what's your thought process? What's going through your head? What pictures? Apart from Duncan on a drunken mess on a Saturday night in the toilet.
With a llama.
With a llama.
I think my first guess could have been okay. And then that second one's just completely thrown it off. And I've got no idea. I've absolutely no idea.
Okay, let's. Do you want to take a pass on that one?
Yeah, I'll take a pass.
Okay, we'll take a pass. Okay, third review. The weird shape of the end means eggs, batter, milk doesn't get caught up. It just flies out.
Oh, it's a pancake maker.
Yeah, well done. 1 star.
Because a fryer isn't dissimilar. You've thrown us right off with that.
Yeah,
I was well off the scent there.
When you do guess, I go through the other reviews and I think, actually, that could fit quite easily. That could fit. We'll go to the second product, first review. Smells nice, but the product doesn't thin as you use it.
Wax melts?
Wax melts is a really good guess, but it's not right.
Soap.
Soap, did you say?
Yeah.
Does soap thin?
Yeah.
If you keep doing that, it thins down, doesn't it?
Oh, that's horrible if it doesn't do that. It's not soap, but that's horrible. I wouldn't want a soap like that. Imagine that.
That's where my head's at this morning. I've got no idea.
Just a lump of soap, liquid soap in your hand that never gets thinner.
My dad and my stepmother used to do this thing where they keep every slither at the end of a bar of soap.
Okay.
And they chuck it all in a jar. And then once in a blue moon, they pull them all out and sort of wedge them together as this sort of Frankenstein bar of soap. There's all the dried nubs that you just can't get to. So you'd be sitting there scouring your body with this crap that just didn't work.
Yeah, it saved a bit of money, but I wouldn't want to use it. We'll go to the second review. Clumps, lumps, bits sticking out. It's awful.
Slime with sort of glitter and stuff in it.
It's a really, really good guess, that one. And it does fit. In fact, it fits all 3 reviews, but it's not right. I tell you what, because you got 1 star on the last one and there's no league table, you're more likely to use it than Duncan. What would you use that Duncan wouldn't?
Hair related, yeah. I really hope you go all soon, Chris.
Doesn't thin as you use it.
Gel, hair gel, hair gel.
Hair gel. Hair product.
I mean, this is going against all the rules, but it does fall under that. The 3rd review was sticky mess, makes it look like you've been electrocuted. It was hair wax. Hair wax. Not sure what you'd use. I don't know whether that's for short hair or long. I don't know. Anyway, we'll go on to the 3rd product. First review. I booted it very hard and it herniated.
Rugby ball.
Rugby ball is not right.
Oh, I don't know if it could be far off though. A football?
Yeah, that's it. Football.
I'm realizing afterwards I should have just gone ball.
You would have got away with that, but I am not confusing football with rugby. I definitely not. The 2 remaining reviews on that is stitching is dreadful, misshapen, and lasts 5 minutes tops. Get it wet, and the whole thing falls apart. So another 3 great products. We're on to the next part of Icebreakers, which is crazy questions, random questions, which we just want your opinion on. The first crazy question is, what were you completely certain of until you found out you were wrong? For me, I thought music lyrics. I believe for years, and until something comes up on a karaoke machine or the subtitles on the TV, I think, no way.
Yeah. The singer's got it wrong again.
The Tony Danza.
Yeah, it's like all the Peter Kay ones. Have you seen those?
Yes, yes. In fact, we mentioned it a few weeks ago, didn't we?
There's still an Alter Bridge lyric that I get mistaken. Won't come to my head at the moment, but it's one that I actually think when you hear it, it's like, actually, I prefer what I heard.
My version's better. Yeah.
I'll make a brand new start from the pieces of my heart is what I think it says, but it says something else. I can't remember what it says.
Are we sticking with a song lyric for that one then?
I was going to say for me, I was pretty certain the world was flat, but somebody's telling me that's wrong.
Everybody's telling you that's wrong.
Yeah. I'm telling you that's wrong.
Apart from those people that wear tinfoil hats.
Apparently, I should have just fallen off the edge of the world.
Crazy question.
What about you? I'll tell you a good one. Parenting's a joy.
That's a very good one.
I think maybe at one stage I thought I was certain I was a pretty good guitarist, and then I seen other people play, and now I don't play guitar in the fallen stage. So I think that's summed that one up for me.
That must be hard being in a band with John McCann. I've had that myself. I sat down with Mark Tremonti for a guitar lesson, and it was that thing of, so you just sit there and go, oh, I'm giving up now.
We'll move on to the second crazy question. What do you need help with the most?
Everything. I am useless.
I can see a lot of lead singer jokes coming up here.
Yeah. Helping carry the mic to the venue. My hair is pretty bad, and it's why it looks like I've just, ran through a bush or something. But like, I can't wash my hair and brush it because it's just painful. Because it gets so knotted because I tie it up and all that, and so I have to get Sophie to do it all the time. She's like just sat like pulling my hair out, and that's the thing I really need help with all the time.
Have you literally become a human doll?
Yeah, literally. She loves it though, so it's all good.
What about you, Duncan?
Oh, what do I need help with the most? There's so many things. I think basic day-to-day functioning at the moment, not to go down the whole lockdown route again, but gee, it's just like, if I see the same four walls for another 24 hours, I may break them down myself.
Putting deep heat on my back, which obviously we discussed before we started recording. I can't do that. We'll go on to the next crazy question. What's better broken than whole?
An egg.
That's a shout.
Yeah, unless you want it hard-boiled.
You're going to eat the shell? Because even if it's hard-boiled, you're still going to break that bugger.
Yeah, of course, I eat the shell. Somehow. Every normal person eats the shell. I'm not just realizing what I've said and doubling down. I thought Terry's chocolate orange.
Yeah.
Shout.
Good shout.
I did think pizza as well. For some reason, I thought food for all these.
It lends itself to food, doesn't it?
It does a bit. But I was trying to think of something that isn't food. What's better broken than whole?
Lego.
Yeah, it works, sort of. I wouldn't want to build like a Millennium Falcon and then drop it, because I would not be. That's better broken, actually.
That's time to get the craggle out. Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing broken in itself is pretty, with the exception of foods. If something's broken, it's less functional.
Usually, yeah.
We'll move on, because as always on the podcast, we like to ask our guests the stories, what you've been through. Thanks for joining us today, Adam.
Yeah, thanks, Robert.
You're from Worksop, Sheffield.
Yeah, Worksop. It's just sort of a few miles down the road, sort of from Sheffield, about 20 minutes away.
Yeah,
I'm originally from.
I've done I've worked there a few times. Tell us about the Bruce Dickinson story.
Oh, I'm from the same town, and my auntie lives on the same street as he grew up on, and everyone from Worksop claims in some way that they're related to Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. They've got some link at somewhere, and I suppose I'm no different, because I'm told that through marriage of my cousin or something, like distant relatives or whatever. I still never received a ticket for a show or as much as a message or an hello or anything, so I don't think anything's going to come of that. But yeah, it seems everyone from Worksop has got some kind of connection to Bruce from Iron Maiden. So
that boy gets around, doesn't he?
There's
no law in Sheffield that you have to love Iron Maiden and Def Leppard. Is that like enshrined in?
No, I think there's certain bands that have got like a local, like everyone kind of follows them because they're the local boys. Like Saxon are just from up the road as well, like Rotherham Barnsley sort of way, and like their old guitarist, like Graham Oliver, and he goes into a club that I used to go in and play, and I've chatted to him a few times. So there's like those local boys that they're kind of like local heroes, and obviously they've been big stars as well. Like they've done all the big things. But yeah, there's like a lot of local pride for like Def Leppard and bands like that as well.
Have you ever met Bruce Dickinson then?
No, not ever. No. Apparently, he was in Worksop a couple of years ago because he'd come back for someone's funeral, because he put in his book that he remembered the walk from the train station into town, and he was describing that. And yeah, that was a couple of years ago. I bet maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
So he's been back, but I've never met him.
You told us you didn't listen to rock growing up, and that you were into like Michael Jackson, which I was as well. What else did you listen to?
Well, my mum always had music on, and she was into, and still is into, like the big diva kind of singers like Whitney Houston and like those kind of people. And so that was always on. So that's always been my earliest memories of music is probably like hearing like my mum singing to like Whitney Houston and that sort of thing. My dad was never one to put on loads of records or anything, but if he ever did listen to music, he'd have on sort of Slade and T-Rex. So that was like maybe the really first early sort of thing I did. But I think more than that, he played.
The first big rock style song I ever heard was my mum had bought Now That's What I Call Music Volume 2.
Yeah.
That old. And it had Slade Runaway on there, Run Away. And I loved that song. And that was really the kick off into that sort of more heavy tone of music. Yeah, a cracking song still.
Does it take you back when you hear those songs? Because one big nostalgia kick for me is whenever like Luther Vandross comes on. Does it take you guys back to sort of your childhood when you hear those songs that you kind of weren't into, but your parents listened to him on loop?
I think more so, like I say, with my mum's, because she played music a lot more. She always had it on in the background. So like hearing like the Whitney Houstons and the Celine Dion's and all that kind of thing. That's what kind of like, I'm like, oh yeah, that reminds me of being like 4 or whatever.
I'm just getting Bridget Jones flashbacks at the moment. That's all I can see. Whenever I hear Celine Dion, it's just Bridget Jones on her own wailing into an ice cream.
What was your draw to playing rock? Because obviously you've said that you listened to Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, but how did it go from sort of listening to that to coming across to rock?
I think Michael Jackson in some kind of way had influence on it, because I used to really, I was only like 8 or 9, and I really loved like the Bad album, because I thought it was like kind of a rock album almost.
Yeah.
And I just like something about it, like the song Bad and things like that. But it weren't until you know, I think I was 14, 15, and I went to my first show because I've been listening to Nickelback quite a lot, which I still like now. I know controversial to a lot of people, but I really like Nickelback. So yeah, I went to that first show when I was, I think I just left school, so I was 15. I was just nearly 16, and it was the Nickelback Dark Horse tour, and it was Blackstone Cherry was the support band.
Oh, wicked.
So it was like my first show and the first band to see it, Blackstone Cherry on an arena stage, and I'd never heard of the Blackstone Cherry before, and I was just like in awe. I was like, wow, what's this? These guys with this long hair, because I wasn't in that world. I was like sort of at school. I was listening to what other kids were listening to, and like, you know, what was it at the time? N-dubs and stupid stuff like that. Like, yeah, that was the kind of stuff, because that's what my mates were listening to. That's what you kind of in with that crowd, and I never really liked it. I always like kind of was on the Nickelback and like the maybe softer side of rock stuff that I really liked. So yeah, I went to see Nickelback and I was just blown away with the show. I mean, the Dark Horse production was just amazing. It was like massive production, it's massive stage. The show, like the album was great, so all the songs were absolutely banging as well. And I got home that night and I was just like, that's what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I'm going to commit my entire life to doing that exact thing I've just seen tonight. And I think
it's like a calling.
That was the moment.
Just wake up to, this is what I need to be doing. And yeah, absolutely.
Were you playing before you'd done that though?
No.
So you'd literally gone and seen that and went, that's what I want to do. And then what? Went out and got a guitar, or you had a guitar?
I had a guitar bought me when I was maybe 8, but it was because you could have music lessons at school and you could get out of maths or whatever. So I wanted to learn something. But I never played it because it was a full-size guitar and I was like a really little kid until I was about 11. I didn't start growing, so I couldn't get my arm around it because it was a big acoustic thing.
Have you ever seen the Partridge Family? Like the old 70s?
No, I haven't, no.
I'll have to find it and put it in here, because the kid that plays guitar in this Partridge Family band, it's twice the size of him. It's the funniest thing to watch. This kind of.
That's how it felt. So after that, it was a case of I just that's what I'm going to do, and I think I was given a guitar. I think it was a Star Sound guitar. I think one that you can get from Aldi for maybe 15 quid or something like that. A really horrible, nasty guitar. I had this horrible cheap amp and one lead that kept breaking, so I'd keep fixing that, and that was it. And I just played forever, and I was just like, even to this day, I've never had a guitar lesson or a singing lesson or anything, but I was just in my room for hours, driving my parents absolutely mad, and just going for it. And it was just, I fell in love with it after that show, more or less.
Behind every great musician is a very patient parent, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Parents of violinists must go through years of torture before it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tell us how you became a singer. In fact, because you've been in a couple of bands before, haven't you? You actually played instrument in the bands, but the lead singer in Fallen State. How did you go from instrument to lead singer?
Ever since I've made my first band up, which is a terrible name. It was called Shadow Shade, which is absolutely dreadful.
Shadow Shade. That makes no sense.
Exactly. It's
I
dreadful.
don't understand that. That's really annoying now I've heard that.
We misspelled it. We spelled it with a Y.
The torture of coming up with a band name. It is torture. Trying to find something that everyone agrees on, and you just sit there in a band meeting rattling out for like 3 hours. What about this? And everyone's like, oh, until finally something comes up and that'll do. Or you go, yeah, that's it. I was in a band called Smiling Politely. And we got that from the Simpsons episode when he meets Billy Corgan, and Billy Corgan goes, "Hi, Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins," and Homer's response is, "Homer Simpson, smiling politely."
Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins.
Homer Simpson, smiling politely.
Yeah. So it was that bad. I think we just made up a word just because we couldn't think of anything else. But so it was a case of we got some guys together, and it was like a revolving door of band members. It was like you'd have a different guitarist every week, sort of thing. And but everyone that came in didn't want to sing, and I was like, well, I guess I'll give it a go then. So and that's just literally how I ended up getting into it, is because no one else really wanted to do it, or they were a bit too apprehensive or whatever to take the mic sort of thing. I was like, well, someone's got to do it if we want to get this band going. So I did it, and then I've been the singer and guitarist in every band since, up until now. Obviously, I'm just taking on vocals, but yeah, I've went on and did the Lost Days, which was the next band, which is a band that was doing okay. That was like the building block. And then I've just finished with a band that I created called The Addiction. But yeah, throughout all of that, I've been a guitarist and a singer.
How's it felt putting the guitar down and just being vocals?
A few people have asked me that, and I've said I'm not precious about not playing guitar live because it's not like I'm not ever going to play guitar. It's not like I'm not going to write songs for the Fallen State on guitar. There's always the potential that maybe if the right thing comes up that I might play guitar on a couple of songs for the Fallen State. But in previous bands, I'd always like to put the guitar down and just have the mic, at least for one or two songs in the set, just to give it that full-on frontman sort of thing where I can just completely put my focus and energy into singing and entertaining, basically, rather than having to, play guitar, sing, and entertain and all that kind of thing. So I always like to do that, and I'm actually kind of looking forward in a way to being able to just do that a bit more freely, yeah.
With vocals, when you're coming up with a song, obviously you've got your notes that you're going to play, and someone comes up and you can input on that on what you want to do. But with vocals, how does it work with that? Do you just start singing and you try and sound like you're going to fit in with the song that's playing, or do you have input on how you're going to sing?
I don't think there's any right or wrong way to go about doing it. In previous bands, I would, because I was the main songwriter in The Addiction, so I'd make the chord pattern. I think, right, I kind of like that. I've got a riff idea, play the chord, and I'd start like humming or like singing some melody over the chords, and I'd put in words to the sort of melody I've got, and obviously words that are relevant to the kind of idea and what the song's kind of about. Fallen State is a little bit different because this is the first time that I've been in a band where we've got everyone collectively working on something. So yeah, I might have a lyric idea, but then Rich, the drummer, may come up with something and it's a better lyric than I've got or a better melody, and it's like, okay, let's go with that. Or there's no formula that says that you've got to do it this way. It's just one of those things that kind of happens. But I think going forward in the Fallen State, we're writing songs that really mean something and that aren't just, because I've written them in the past where they're just good time rock and roll kind of songs, and they don't really make much sense, but they're just like, they sound good, and it's like, it's just clever words.
Rhymes.
Sort of thing, but, yeah, exactly, rhymes. So that's good enough for me. Yeah, sort of thing.
We'll get on to that, like Knives.
So come at me with your knives. Come at me with your blade. The bridges are falling down. The walls are caving in.
So obviously you released Knives over the last week. The response has been huge. Like, it's been number one on Amazon. I think it's right up there on Spotify, Apple, iTunes also. Really up there. People are really digging it. What was the songwriting process like with that for you? And I'd love to know where the song came from. Like, I had my suspicion, but it'd be cool to hear what the inspiration behind it was.
Well, I think with a lot of songs, sometimes they develop and aren't always what they started out to be. So the idea for Knives came about was just messing about in a writing session, and Greg and I had an idea, and he put it in he tracked it in, and it was something like Bring Out the Knives or something like that, and it was just read it on loop, and what we've done now sounds absolutely nothing like it, but it's just how like you build on blocks and things happen. So, but I think lyrically, Knives is about, we sort of went to an angle where it was like, do you know what, this past year or so has been rubbish for not just musicians but everybody. they've had the band's had an issue, obviously, to replace a singer, which is not ideal for anyone. I know it's kind of fortunate for me because I get to jump in there, but the last thing the band want is to replace any member. So I've come and done that. But I think it was just a song where it's just like, throw anything at us, like come at us with whatever you've got, and we're not gonna falter. We're gonna take it, and we're gonna come out stronger from it. And that's just not just the band, but how everyone's feeling throughout this last year. And
Yeah.
we're not gonna let anything get to us. We're just gonna bring it on, sort of thing.
What was the process into becoming the lead singer of Fallen State?
Me and Greg have been chatting. Basically, what happened was my old band, The Lost Days, supported the Fallen State in March 2018. It was in Doncaster, so it was up towards my way. We opened the show that night, and ever since I've kind of been in contact with a couple of the guys, and a lot of the time I was messaging Greg. I was saying, if you need a tour support, The Lost Days will do it. And then when I moved on to The Addiction, I was like, I've got this new band, The Addiction, if you need a tour support. And I was like, he's sort of like jabbing at him. I was like, give us something. So when he messaged me quite some months ago now, I thought it was that. I thought it was going to be a tour support sort of thing. I was like, it's finally happening, sort of thing. And yeah, it wasn't that. So he was like, yeah, we've parting ways of our singer, and we just wondered if you might be interested in auditioning, sort of thing. So I got sent basically every song of the back catalogue, and I spent a lot of time recording all my vocals over all the songs and sort of giving them an idea of what my voice is like and things like that. And when we finally could, when restrictions were lifted, we could finally get together to like a rehearsal sort of thing that was like in the middle of the summer. And then we did that, and yeah, it was really cool, and the guys were great, and it's just been a really nice, easy process, to be honest. It's been no stress at all.
Vocally, I mean, you're such a natural fit. It was one of the questions I asked Dan when we were interviewing him is Adam like Ben? Is he gonna? And one of the things he brings something different, but he can handle all that stuff as well, which was so cool. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about the back catalogue? What are the songs you're really looking forward to performing on stage from the back catalogue?
There's so many. I think if you listen to, chronologically the order of the EPs and things like that, you can really see a change in each one and a progression in certain things.
Absolutely.
And I like some of the things right back from 1 up to A Dead Set Endeavour, and what we're doing now. I think what Dan's saying is possibly right in the sense that I can, I'm quite happy doing the older songs, and some of they're not easy songs, so I've had to work pretty hard to get to do them. And then the new stuff going forward is obviously it's got a little different, and obviously got my flavour on it as opposed to Ben's. But some of the older songs, wow, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot because I'm going to say songs like Torn, which I absolutely love, but one of the hardest to sing. But yeah, lots of them. I've said to the guys before, and I'm not just like blowing smoke or anything. I was just saying that the production value and the songs on A Dead Set Endeavour, I think, are up there with any major label release. I think it's a brilliant album, and like I said, I said that before I was involved with it. It's what a great album. So I'm looking forward to playing a lot off that and off the previous EPs as well.
Dead Set Endeavour, I've said it before. I think one of the best debuts ever, and like you said, the production value on it is just second to none. It really works. But I loved hearing, that production value is coming to Knives, but I really like that. Yeah. Like you're saying, every EP, and the album of Dead Set Endeavour, you've seen a progression and a shift. There's no sort of resting on the laurels of the last thing, and we don't have Nova or anything like that. It's like, and I loved hearing that in Knives. You got that sort of that almost like a techno undercurrent that just underlies it. That it's subtle, but it's there. Yeah. Your voice, you've got a really dark tone that you can bring into your voice as well, which really fits, especially the intro section. I thought, is this the sort of style we're going to expect from your album, or are you going to be looking to? Is there going to be a sort of variety as well? You're going to do some softer tracks, or is it going to be? And I'm happy with either.
I'm not here, and I'm not coming in and then just doing like this is what we're going to do, and we're going to go down this road. I like to think I've got enough, variety in my voice that we can do sort of songs like that, and then I can do a ballad sort of here and there and sing really nice and put all the vibrato on. and then other songs where I can just absolutely belt it. And then, you know, I don't think there's any rules, and I don't think we've really got any rules going forward in writing songs, which is really like exciting and refreshing, because we're not putting ourselves into a box and we're saying, okay, we've got to do more dark songs, or we've got to do more ballads, or we've got to do more, you know, 3-minute rock songs. It's just like, let's just see what happens. If you've heard my other stuff, that's more my Addiction stuff. There's a lot more sort of bluesy, classic rock kind of singing on that. And a lot of people have said to me that's heard Knives, is like, is that actually you? Because that sounds nothing like what you've done before. Like, yeah. So I don't know if that's a compliment or not. But
I mean, I've had Knives on repeat for the last week, just playing, because it's epic, and I love heavier stuff, and it really fits with that. But again, I think the reason I love The Fallen State is the same reason I love bands like Tremonti, Alter Bridge, and Blackstone Cherries. There's that heavy aspect, Seven Dust as well. It's like, it's heavy,
yeah,
but it's also melody. I don't like hearing the Cookie Monster sing 24/7. I want to hear something you can actually sing. And that's what I love about you guys, is that heavy riffing's there, but there's a real sense of melody. And there's always been a real care with the lyrics. And I really felt that coming into Knives as well. You've obviously spent some time really putting yourself and your passion into bringing the lyrics to life as well. What was that process like for you?
Good. You know, I don't think the guys will mind me saying that sometimes to get it right, I wouldn't say we've argued, but you know, you get really passionate about it. And I was still kind of finishing Knives as we was in the studio, because I don't think we was all happy with how the outro was going, now it's ending, and we're just like, why has it got to be this? Why has it got to be that? And just like, really, just because we just cared enough to get it right. And that's the thing at the end of the day, is that it gets a little passionate, and it gets a little heated sometimes, but there's nothing, it's nothing sort of, it's obviously nothing personal, but it's nothing that is just kind of hinder someone else's opinion. It's like, we're doing this because we want it to be the absolute best. And that's what I absolutely love about this band, is because everyone just wants the best all the time. And they've brought that out in me, just in my singing voice, and when we've been, you know, rehearsing and things like that. It's just like, I've got to be on my game, and they really bring it out in me as well. So I've never known a band work so hard. It's crazy.
I love those moments where you've had that kind of discussion, but you see the result at the end, and you go, you know what?
Yeah.
It was worth every frayed nerve, because what we've got is spectacular. And we're really happy with how it turned out. So I've been really paying attention to the sort of response that the fans have had since the announcement, obviously, and I've been overwhelmed with how positive the response has been. How's it been for you? I mean, I imagine you were shitting yourself when it was coming up to the announcement.
Yeah, in a way, it was sort of like, we wanted to get the announcement done, and ages ago, and it was like, oh, when are we going to do it? Oh, we've got to make sure it's right. We've make sure we've got everything done that we want to do before we do it. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. And then it was like the day, and you don't think about it, and then all of a sudden the week before, this time a couple of weeks ago, it was like, oh, it's about to go down now. Like, everything's done and in place, and it was like that anticipation of like, they're gonna like it, like they're gonna accept the news of a new singer. Are they gonna like the song? Are they gonna, you know, how's it gonna go down? What they're gonna think of Ben leaving? What they're gonna think of me personally? It was like all this kind of thing. So when that response came, and everyone's like, love it, and they're like, and it's had, you know, been played and shared and downloaded so much, it's just been like weight off. Like, wow, what a great response. And like, it's just, yeah, I couldn't have asked for better, to be honest.
What was your expectation, Duncan? When you were going in and first hearing Adam, were you nervous, or what did you think going into and listening to it?
It's an interesting thing, because as a fan, you're really hopeful, and there have been situations when you've had new members of bands. I mean, and especially when it's a lead singer, because the vocals really shape a band in a lot of ways. And I mean, you think back to, I mean, I'm a massive Van Halen fan, and obviously there was the transition between David Lee Roth to Sammy Hagar, and everyone going up in arms and all that kind of stuff. And I was hoping it wasn't that attitude wasn't going to come out, because I know the guys personally. I was really hoping that there wasn't going to be that attitude of, oh, I like your old stuff better than your new stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I think the song was the perfect choice for a first single to sort of debut your voice, because it really showed the dexterity of your voice. You've got the ability to go to sort of different places, and it immediately brought out, wow, you're going to add some real textures here, and that's a great thing. And that's, but obviously I loved all the stuff with Ben, and so you sit there and think, I really hope that that dynamic still works. And I mean, absolutely slayed it. It was as I've been listening to the song non-stop. It's interesting when you get that thing of what's it going to be like, and it's joyous when that happens and you go, you know what, they slayed it. And I generally say, you could accuse me of, I'm just blowing wind up everyone's asses and but genuinely, I've been loving it.
Awesome. Thank you, man. That means a lot, especially from fans who have been with the band a long time that are then liking the new stuff with a new singer. It's such a relief, like not just for me but for the guys, and I'm as happy for them as I am myself that it's been received in the way it has, because they'd worked so hard to get to where they are, and for it to all be gone like that because of a change in lineup, it would be a real shame for them. So I'm glad for them as much as anybody that it's done as well.
I'm glad the way it went about as well. I mean, Ben, I think, left in the classiest way you could leave a band.
Yeah,
he didn't just go,
absolutely, yeah,
I'm done, I'm out of here. Like, I'm ready to try something new. I'm with you until we get the right person.
Yeah,
and then obviously that led to your joining. And I think when you got that synergy that goes across, rather than it just being, holy shit, what do we do now? Yeah. Having to find someone, and then everyone, the fact that Ben is as much a supporter of you coming in as I think that sets a real tone as well.
Yeah.
And the guys, like you say, they're such classy guys in general.
Yeah.
Brotherhood. And obviously you've been really sort of adopted into that brotherhood and a part of it.
Yeah, the whole entire part of it, because I had Ben message me and he's saying all the best with it, and he said sorry that some of the songs are so hard to sing and this kind of thing. But the good thing is it's kind of like the band is now kind of 6 members. Obviously, one's just not in the setup anymore. But there's clearly no hard feelings between the guys and Ben. That's just like, say he just wants to go and do something else. It's all good, and he's wished me all the best with it, and which is really really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm not replacing him. I'm just kind of moving forward from where we left off.
If music have come along and worked for you, what would you have been doing?
I might have some money. I was at college when I left school I was trained to be a plumber, of all things. And then I never got to finish my 3rd year because it was sort of at the time when the country was absolutely on its backside and I needed an apprenticeship to do my MVQ and all that kind of thing. So I never got to finish that. So I'm a semi-qualified plumber, as it stands.
Semi-qualified.
I can tell you what's wrong with your sink, but I can't fix it.
So basically, you Google.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So after that, I kind of just went into like different jobs, and I think it was around that time I'd already started trying the whole musician thing, and then after that, I kind of committed so much to it that I was like, I'm not going to put all of my time into a career until I've at least gone as far as I can with the music thing. And then if that comes, if I'm 50 then it comes to an end and I've got to get another job, then I'll do that. But I just thought, while I can, I'm going to just absolutely go for the music thing rather than, training for a job that I'm not happy with, sort of thing.
That makes sense. You're due to be married next year as well, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
How does it work? Is your partner very supportive of you being in a band and obviously potentially going on tour and everything else?
Unbelievably. Like, as I was starting, not even the last band, the band before, The Lost Days, we've not been together all that long. And then I met Sophie and we've been together ever since. And everything I've done, and I've been in earlier bands, I've been out 3-4 times a week and over the weekend. I've been on tour across the UK, like with other projects and stuff, and she's never once made an issue of it. She's always been like, yeah, you've got to do what you've got to do, sort of thing. So she's been absolutely supportive. Honestly, it's hard to put into words because it's when you find someone that's that supportive and just lets you do what you've got to do. It's it's just unbelievable. I've obviously had ex-partners and stuff, and as soon as well, I've got 2 gigs this weekend, so it's like, oh, so you're more bothered about playing gigs than me, sort of thing, and because that comes a problem. So when you've got someone that just like supports you the whole time, it's just amazing.
How do you find that affects just life in general? We were saying that, Dan, the music industry is notorious for being really taxing on mental health. And it's because it is so exhausting. You're doing such bizarre hours, and you're not just playing a gig for an hour and a half or 2 hours. You're getting there, you're setting up, you're doing sound checks, you're on the road. There's so much that goes into it, and you're away from loved ones. I mean, how do you find that, having been part of that process with previous bands?
Yeah, it can be tough because Sophie's she's trained to be a midwife at the moment. So she's in the last year. So a lot of her time's taken with that as well. So there's been times where I've been away and it might have been 2 or 3 dates away somewhere. And when I've got back, she's seen me for 10 minutes, and it's like, oh, well, I've got to go to work now, sort of thing, and then do a 12-hour shift. You can get pretty low, I think, and the whole business can really get you down when it's like, things aren't going your way, or just, I don't know. There's a lot of aspects to it. I think you can go in really deep with it, but it's great to have that kind of support network around you. And like I say, Sophie's absolutely brilliant with it, and she understands. And sometimes I can be sort of annoying and grumpy sometimes because of certain things, but she understands it, and I do the same with her, because obviously she's got a lot on herself. So it's one of those things. We're a great team, I think. So
is she into the same sort of music as you?
Yeah, that makes it even better. So instead of like, oh, you're going to that, oh, I don't really like that, but she's got her own taste. She likes, same as I do. My Spotify, you think a psychopath owned it, because like the different things.
What's your most embarrassing song on your Spotify before you finish answering that question?
Most embarrassing. Do you know what? I'll get my playlist down. I don't think you have to dig very deep for it, I'll be honest.
The soothing sounds of Ted Bundy. Chilling with Dharma.
I don't know if I've got anything embarrassing. I've got Michael Bublé. I kind of like Michael Bublé.
Yeah, I think that qualifies, mate.
Yeah, okay,
it really does.
The best news, December the 1st, and Michael Bublé comes out of his cave ready for Christmas.
Been defrosted. Yeah.
So go back to your wife's taste in music.
She might listen to Ariana Grande, and then the next thing she's got in is Metallica or Motley Crue, and like it's great that we go to gigs and we sort of plan going to gigs and things, and it's like, oh, we could just go ourselves because we both absolutely love Metallica. So we've been to a couple of Metallica shows together, like big ones, and we've been seeing Kiss together, and just like all these bands. It's great because we can just do it together. Do
you find going to gigs a very different experience as a musician now?
Yeah, it's painful. Yeah,
wow.
because you just can't enjoy it the same way as you did before you as a musician.
Analyze everything, don't you?
Absolutely. It's like, I'm not sure about that guitar sound. And it's like you're watching Metallica. I think they know what they're doing. It was like, it's not sounding very. Yeah, drums aren't very good though, are they? It's like.
I do it. I was actually talking with Chris before about this. I do it with YouTube now.
Yeah.
The kids watch all this YouTube mayhem stuff. I can't stand it because a lot of it's just inane, and it's like I can't watch this. But I sit there analysing how they've edited it, what they put in there, how they've done that. And when I was in the band, it was the same with going to gigs and stuff. It's like, but a lot of it was, we could try that.
Yeah.
Never got to being a successful band.
You just do. I think you just overanalyze everything, and it's so hard to enjoy. There's like a handful of bands maybe that I can just go and not think about it. And like I said, Metallica was probably one of those. I don't think I've ever overanalyzed a Metallica show, but the worst thing for me, I think, is watching old videos back of me and thinking, what were you doing? Like, what is that guitar sound about? What was that note? What was you singing there? What are you doing? I can just pick myself apart all day, and it's like, yeah.
But you do that with recordings too, don't you? All right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. Oh, why did we do that? No, I don't. But it's done, and you can't. Sort of, it's different now because you can go back and fix a lot of it, But yeah, you can't help but overanalyze, and I think sometimes that's to your detriment, because I can't imagine being what it must be like being a Def Leppard, where you have to go through and perfect everything, and it's like, when do you stop? You know.
I wouldn't like to have been the guy funding the Hysteria album, that's for sure. Was it 3 years to make something like that? It's been crazy.
5 years.
It's 5 years.
years. £5 million in debt they were at the end of that.
Wow. Luckily, it sold the copies it did. It made some money back, I think.
Oh, yeah. Thanks ever so much for joining us, everyone. Well, thank you as always, Chris.
Thank you, mate.
And of course, Adam Methven. So much fun talking to you, and really great hearing about how things are going. If you haven't listened, check out Knives Now. The link will be in the description. It is a killer track, especially if you like slightly heavier sounds. It is magic. All of the links and stuff for everything we talked about will be in the description. Please do hit like, hit subscribe, hit that bell so that you know when new content's going up. We will see you again next week, and in the meantime, stay safe.
Cheers, guys.